Welcome to Cosmic Channels. Open minds on cosmic lines. The show streams live Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time on YouTube and Twitch. Tune in then for your chance to share your tale or your theories. The number is 1-833-703-0424. The Cosmic Channels are open.
I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Andrew.
Tonight, we're talking about the pyramids. Who built them? Why are they there? What do they do? Where'd they go? Dial 1-833-703-0424. Let us know what you think. It's been a long time since we discussed the pyramids, actually.
You guys should also specify that we're talking about the pyramids of Giza. Like,
Are we?
Well, you just said when people say pyramids, everyone means Giza. But if you have a thought on pretty much any ancient pyramid, like let us know. All right, we got a caller. Let's bring him on. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
Hey, am I too early?
No, you're on, man. You're the first caller.
Oh, great. So pyramid theories, I just jumped on right now. I have no say of which one I know better of.
First thing that comes to your mind.
First time calling in today.
Yeah, man. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Fave calling from Texas, Fort Worth.
Fort Worth, right on. So, yeah, first thing that comes to mind. Let's hear it about the pyramids. What do you got?
I'd have to say Egyptian. The goddesses, if you look at all their gods from Isis, Osiris, they all look like mutants. And to me, that already throws it off as, okay, there's probably something to this.
So are you going with like the classic Egyptian theory?
Yes.
So do you think the Egyptians made it via slave labor? They dragged those 100-ton blocks 100 kilometers or whatever it was, and they stacked them through sheer ingenuity?
Well,
is that what you're...
Well, one, I think they did it because they didn't have any other choice.
They're just bored?
No. So, look, you have a race, essentially you have another slave race, and you want to do something whimsical. Or the pyramids literally are hiding ships or transportation. It can go either way. But you have, to me, looking from my mindset, the way I see it is you have this race and you have all these higher beings. Why not put them to use? See what the hell they can do.
You're pretty much, your theory is like you're going with slave labor and then just a few like genius engineers orchestrating the whole thing and everyone else just schlepping stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is the main that's the main theory, and it's hard to disprove. But when you look at the pyramids, like, man, I just can't see it. That's just mainly, slaves pulling stones around. That's what I think.
Built on the back of the Hebrews.
that is false. I'm going to say that right now.
It's not built on the backs of the Hebrews, Dan?
No.
Oh, man, you obviously didn't watch A Prince of Egypt, Dan.
Hey, man. Hey, thanks for being the first caller. We're gonna keep moving on. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, man. Talk to you later.
Oh, and your band, you guys rock.
a couple monkeys.
Couple.
Feel good.
Cheers, man. Tell your friends. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
You're going to have to change your name of your band.
I think a couple monkeys was already taken.
Yeah. I still find it baffling that people will subscribe to it was just built by us back when we had no tools.
I mean,
no
trucks
to transport.
You didn't have You didn't have the tools to cut granite. That's the main one for me.
You didn't have the tools for the job.
Okay, what tools would you need to cut granite? What tools are you guys thinking about when you? I'm talking about
hardened. I'm talking about like cardboard, like hardened steel. That's what I'm talking about.
You don't need hardened steel to cut granite.
You don't?
You can do it with sharp copper tools like they were using back then. Probably what they had access to.
But granite was way harder on the. What's the scale of rock hardness though? It's way harder than copper. Is what I'm saying.
No, but you'd still be able to do it. Whether you could do it with copper tools, it would just take longer, and the tools would wear out faster. But if you have a large amount of copper, you'd be able to do it.
Well, we'll have to put that theory to the test and make, what was it, one block every 3 minutes for 10, 20 years straight?
Yeah.
Built the pyramids?
Yeah.
From
Possible.
red
Every
granite,
3
500 miles
minutes?
away,
Yeah.
floated up the
It's
river.
possible. They've done it. They did a couple of experiments like back in the mid 90s.
Who did?
They're like they've done it.
Who did it?
It was like a contracting company with a couple of guys.
They built. They placed
a couple of
2.3 million tons of blocks
of course
stone.
they didn't do that.
I'm saying it's already
by doing
it's already
it by
fake 'cause they
doing
had
what they
tools
thought
that-
they would and extrapolating from the data, like extrapolating out what they could place stone at using the methods that were available to the Egyptians at the time, or what archaeologists can find evidence that they had access to it at the time. It's not unbelievable that they would be able to do it depending on how many people you had working at the time. So they've had estimates of probably, I think it's around like 10,000 people working on this thing.
Yeah, that's the estimate. I'm talking about though. Yeah, it's one thing to cut the sandstone and bring it up 40 stories, but what about like the internal structure of the pyramid built with red granite? Those 310 granite coffers in the basement, where you have to build the basement first, and there's barely height to stand up in there. So as far as I know, they haven't figured out how they could move those stones in such small spaces so precisely, so fast. That's why a lot of people think Egyptians were way more advanced than just copper tools, and they didn't even have a wheel. It was all leverage, right? And they think it was a giant ramp that extended, like 4,000 feet from the top of the pyramid back out so they could haul it up at the correct angle. But there's been no evidence ever found of the ramp, is what I'm saying.
No, there is evidence of the ramp. They do have it around. Archaeologists have found evidence of the ramp, like the cobblestone, like stuff that they put together around the pyramid. Like it's there. They found it.
But haul a stone to the top.
Yeah, you can do it with a sledge. They have the sledges. They found
I'm
those.
I'm feeling a fucking Dan test coming on. We're gonna set up Dan in the summer. How fast can Dan cut a block, lift it to height, and we'll extrapolate the data to see if 10,000 Dans could build the pyramid.
Yeah.
The first caller had an interesting point. He talked about them being used for teleportation, or I
Like
think he said that,
Stargates?
right?
Stargates.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we
Stargates.
talked about the pyramids. They're being perfectly aligned with this constellation Orion. So we got Orion's belt.
Are they perfectly aligned though? Like perfect?
I think on a certain day, because I mean, we've all seen, you can look at, I guess I don't know if it's perfect. If you're shooting, maybe they missed the mark. That's why they've never come back.
I don't.
Here's
I'm
a
not
question.
100% sure about aligning with Orion's belt, but they are within a few, within a few degrees, directly aligned with north and south.
Yeah.
Like
impressive.
incredibly close.
If if you go with like the Graham Hancock theory, he extrapolates back to at a certain time they lined up with all this stuff, but right now they're off. But if you go with like the precession of the equinox, if you're like work backwards, what he claims, like alternate version of like Egypt and the pyramids is just much older than the 4,500 years and actually points a different direction. So if you go with that theory, then it lines up back then perfectly, and now it's off a little bit. I think that's what a lot of people try and theorize about.
So here's a question for Braden and Zell, like not picking sides or anything like that, but like if we have no evidence supposedly that people built these pyramids or weren't able to do that, but we also have we have even less evidence that anyone else built these fucking pyramids. Like, why is it so hard to fathom that this is something that humans were capable of doing?
Oh, I'm not.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that as for a second. Well, I would sign on to more that it was an ancient civilization that had technology that we're not aware of. I said it before, like there's so much, mathematics involved in the pyramids and like how the structure is built and, aligned with the stars, north and south, that maybe it was built by an ancient race to give us clues to mathematics that would stand the test of time.
So how do we know for sure that we didn't have that level of mathematics back then just because it wasn't recorded?
I don't think
do we know that.
I don't think we know if we did or not, but that's always what I think is like, it's a structure to knowledge.
I don't know. Like for me, it's like, it's amazing. Like when we went to Chichén Itzá, my mind was blown. And I, for the first time, was like, this is really hard for me to fathom that humans made these. But at the same time, I still don't understand how somebody makes a fucking iPhone.
Yeah,
or
sure.
created electricity. You know what I mean? So if they're capable of doing that, I completely believe that we are absolutely capable of fucking building pyramids.
Andrew has trouble making a ham sandwich,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Okay, listen, you want a serious story here? I legitimately went out of my way to fucking buy a PlayStation so I could play the Spider-Man game. And I was all excited. And it took me fucking 40 minutes to get the thing started to play it. And I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't play. I called my brother. I watched YouTube videos. I'm like, doesn't it make sense? I keep touching the fucking thing. It's not turning on. I'm getting so frustrated. It wasn't plugged in.
Sounds like
And I'm not even exaggerating. It was fucking.
I believe it. Let's-
I
that's,
couldn't believe
let's
that's a
hear
good
what someone
point.
else-
Has anyone checked if the
hey, Cosmic Channels.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yo, who we speaking
What
with?
up?
This is Harrison Finch from SoCal.
Hey, Harrison.
Yo, what's up, Harrison?
What's your-
Hey, so how do you feel about the pyramids being used as energy?
I've heard
Like,
that.
because no, go for it.
No, I was gonna say I've heard that theory before. I'm just not an electrical engineer, so it didn't make sense. I remember hearing because it's placed over top of a lot of pyramids are placed over top of like either a underground river or reservoir of something, and they call it like some type of like hydroelectric, like static charge that like vibrates up the pyramids through the different sides the rocks. And if you look at the interior of the pyramid, it doesn't really make sense as a tomb, right? It has like those three weird
Yes,
chambers.
of course.
And like some people say like it didn't make sense to me, but the three different versions of rock, like what you have, like red granite, limestone, and sandstone or something. And I've heard that theory said before is that it could have been something to generate kind of like because Tesla based his tower off of the pyramids, how it worked, and
Exactly. That's
Right?
what I was getting at.
Yeah, so I've definitely heard that. But what do you think?
No, it's just weird coincidence that they've found actual crude batteries constructed within the so-called slave quarters.
Talk about like those clay batteries.
Yeah, the clay batteries. So therefore, they did technically have running electricity back in the day, and it was all through something that Tesla rediscovered.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that theory. Yeah, because I think they call them. I think they first found them in Baghdad. They call them the Baghdad batteries, but then they further found
Exactly.
they found them in Egypt and other parts of that area, and that had the ability. Because I think they did it on MythBusters, and it had the ability. One of those jars could do like it's the same as like a AA battery.
Yes, correct.
So yeah, it seems like they had some type of knowledge of electricity. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, so basically, those things were just giant Tesla towers that would help produce energy. Oh, technically nowadays would be called green energy.
Right.
If we were trying to move back into that stage, that's the motion that we would have had to gone. But of course, with the as far as big oil companies and so on and so forth, we've had to push towards the money market versus this is our history.
So is what you're getting at, what you're trying to tell me is that the fall of the Egyptians was caused by 5G.
Big oil and
There you
5G.
go, that
Big oil
5G.
and 5G.
Well, no, they weren't stupid enough to create it. That's the thing.
Yeah, it makes you wonder sometimes, like, we always think we know 100% of everything about the ancient world, and then they find these batteries, and then some people try and dispute them, say it was just an accident, and then you're like, well, maybe they did it. Maybe the pyramid was an energy generator, but not, if it wasn't generating energy in like a huge, like we're generating like megawatts of power from dams and stuff. Maybe this was enough to run lights and other stuff. Maybe like just low voltage stuff, and done wirelessly.
Exactly. The necessities of life, not the comfort of life.
Yeah, I could get aboard with that because a lot of people are also been like, well, how did they work in way down like 30 feet under the ground, and there was not any real ventilation, where they're using torches and they were just like suffocating, or did they actually have some type of like primitive light source?
I just thought it was some sort of Aziz Light scenario with a bunch of dishes.
Little,
Mm-hmm. You got it right, boys.
yeah, I like that theory. I like it a lot. It's just maybe one day we'll find maybe someone on modern day Tesla will come along and figure that shit out again.
Oh, I know. Wouldn't that be a godsend?
Great hope for that. All right, brother. Hey, we're gonna keep moving on, but we appreciate the call.
Thanks, Harrison.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right.
Hey, you guys have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
You too.
Bye.
Zell, you're talking about like the hydro plants because like I guess it could be possible that the Nile was way closer to the pyramids way back in the day than it is now, and it's just the river is migrating.
I don't think that's even disputed, right? Because that's how the claim goes, that they transported the stones and it was much closer, and they had like actual water causeways going to the Nile from the pyramids.
Right. That there is evidence of those basins. Like they do have evidence of artificial basins created so that they would be able to move the stone from, I think it's Wadi El Jarf is the port that they were using, which is on the Red Sea. That they would move the stones from there, or they also shipments of copper from Sinai is where they got their copper from. And so they would use these artificial basins as man-made lakes. So you'd be able to, during the flooding season, you'd be able to move the supplies, all the stuff that you needed, the food, everything that you needed to feed your workforce, keep your workforce supplied, and the building materials for the pyramids, they would move them through those.
Right. All right. Let's bring another caller here. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
Hello?
Hey, you're live.
Hey, what's up? Good to talk to you guys.
You too, man. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Ryan. I'm calling from, Buffalo area, Western New York.
Right on, man. You got a theory on the pyramids, or?
Well, not necessarily theory. I just think the most fascinating thing with me is when you look at these structures, they are all over the world, ancient structures. These are from civilizations that had nothing to do with each other, had no means of communication. But you see them in Cambodia, you see them in South America, you see them in Egypt, you see them all over the world.
Thailand, yeah, everywhere.
There's got to be something that connects all that together. And I mean, I think it's maybe an ancient civilization, maybe it came from the stars, who knows? But it's too much of a coincidence to me that you see these structures all over the planet, these ancient structures, but none of them could even figure out the wheel.
Yeah, I've that's definitely one thing. Like you find pyramids not only in Giza, but like all over like that area. You find pyramids in South America, Central America. There's
Bosnia.
Well, maybe Bosnia, but China. We got pyramids in China that they try and keep low key. There's
China,
right? There's pyramids all over the world, and a lot of them are similar looking. Many times the step pyramid, primarily, right?
That seems to be the one that was the most popular thousands of years ago. That was probably the easiest to build too, though.
Right, and not only that, but also like you have what's like the Osiris in Egypt, and then you have like Machu Picchu, those like stone like polygon rocks all fitted together perfectly. It look exactly the same. Mm-hmm. The archways look exactly the same halfway around the world from two different times in history. It's fascinating stuff.
It just seems weird to me that all these civilizations would all have the same. When they're building something, they all have the same architectural style. Like,
right, and so that's what it goes. A lot of people like against the mainstream go like, well, maybe there was some type of, maybe not fully global civilization, but they had like global trade routes, and maybe you had an Egyptian, like he made the plans for the pyramid, and they would sell those around the world or go help.
He was like the guy who sells the monorail to communities.
Yeah, exactly. Traveling around the world selling pyramids.
Monorail.
It's Imhotep, man. Imhotep selling the step pyramid.
Why do you think it's so unaccepted for mainstream archaeologists to like go outside the norm of thinking and to give other theories? Like, why is it just shut down immediately saying, oh, he's crazy?
I think that type of stuff moves real slow. So what's currently taught is sometimes taken as truth, and maybe a lot of it is, but like if there was an alternate theory, it takes a long time to like pass through that system. Like it takes a long time. So if Egyptology has been going on since what?
Given history.
Yeah, it's been going on the same kind of stories for what, a couple hundred years now?
Yeah.
Like Khufu built the Great Pyramid because they found his name tattooed in the uppermost chamber, but never found a mummy, and that makes the most sense, right? Kind of like Occam's razor. Well, the Egyptians lived here, therefore they must have built them, I think is probably why it's tough to get away from the mainstream sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you can't go and explore other theories. I mean, even if they end up being completely like false, it's never hurts to like think about it other ways.
Yeah, I think all theories should be explored, and then get rid of the ones that are impossible, and then from there, even if it's not probable, it doesn't mean it's not true.
No, and like what am I looking for here? What's the word? Not Egyptology, but just the study of ancient cultures.
Anthropology,
Archaeology.
Yeah, archaeology and stuff. That's
Archaeology.
it's not an exact science, right? It's not like math or physics. It's like
You're trying to make sense from evidence
Yeah.
that you find.
Yeah,
You're putting together a story,
Mhm.
like you're trying to get it from the evidence that you have.
yeah. So
Mhm.
that's how I think about it. Like there is a lot of weird coincidences around the world that you're like, how did they build pyramids here without knowledge of them, and how did they do this here without knowledge of them, and what's the true purpose?
So,
Yeah.
question: how do you think if you were back in the ancient times to build a type of structure that was going to withstand a long time and have a large, good structural, lasting, it'd be very, stable. Like, how would you build it?
How would I build it?
Yeah, how would you build it?
Out of
A fucking
stone.
hill. Just a
What do you
big
think would
mound of
What do you
dirt.
think would be the most stable shape?
Strong foundation, work your way up.
Okay,
Yeah.
so would you build a tower?
Dan's trying to bait you into saying pyramid.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, like, if I
No,
watch
yeah,
little
I
kids,
get
you watch
where
little
he's
kids
going.
play with blocks. Like, they'll put stuff together and they'll figure
Oh,
out.
dude,
like,
Dan.
Yeah, but Dan, how do we know?
I've never
Dan,
seen a little kid
listen.
Little
put
kids
a
build
pyramid
pyramids.
No,
together.
listen. Everybody knows that there's a network of little children that talk to each other and teach each other how to build those pyramids.
I'm not saying
Calm
that they
down.
have to.
They can roll a rock and invent the wheel. I don't know how the wheel took so long, but they can move rocks that are the size of elephants, but they can't figure out that something
Excellent.
can roll.
Excellent counterpoint.
Very
That was
good
a
I
great
would
I
also
like
say that using the wheel wouldn't be a great way to move things on sand.
Yeah, but using some type of rollers might be.
On sand.
Yeah, if you had
If you have
100 rollers.
if you have a strong foundation and you want to get something up the next incline to the next foundation, I'd say it's a lot easier to roll it than it is to drag it.
I mean, they've done experiments where they've done it where it's pretty easy. Like, you can do it with the 12-man team. You can move a 1.5 ton block.
I was just reading there was rocks that were weighed as much as elephants. I don't know that 12. I mean, it'd be tough for 12 men to move an elephant. I mean, they could do it, but it'd be a lot easier if you had a pulley system.
That's the casing stones and stuff weighed about between 2 and 4 tons or something. But the granite stones and like the interior structure were much, much, much bigger and crazy big. Anyways, hey, we appreciate the call, man. We're gonna move on to the next caller though. So
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. I love you guys. Love the podcast.
hey, cheers, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Talk to you soon.
Have a good night.
Oh yeah, getting
Here,
some good.
Prove to me that Ron Pond didn't build the fucking pyramids. Prove that. Guy could bench press an elephant.
At least one elephant.
Like to Dan's point, I'm like, okay, well, I'll look at like indigenous cultures in Canada, like, they're making teepees, which little cone, little triangle, right? So I see what you're saying, like that to lean stuff up, that makes the most sense.
Yeah, but I like that
On to
counterpoint
this
though.
scale,
If you know what
scale,
the strongest structure to build with is a
what
pyramid.
the most efficient shape is to move. It's literally the next shape.
It's the
so
next
yeah,
one over.
got your squares, got your triangles, you got your circles, basic shapes.
All right, let's we'll bring another caller in here, see what they can add to the conversation. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
Hey, man, what's up?
Hey, man, just
going on, man?
talking about some pyramids. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
All right, cool. Alex O'Brien from Orlando, Florida.
Oh,
Yeah!
hey,
What's up,
That's our
Alex?
boy. What's up, Alex?
What's up, guys?
buddy. Good to hear from you, man.
All right. So I got some theories, all right? My main one is I believe giants built the pyramids.
All right,
I think
let's do this.
giants were probably enslaved at one point because they weren't that smart and they were forced to build the pyramids, and they probably got smarter and decided to revolt, and then they got wiped out. And the only idea I really think that this is probably possible is because the bones that they've supposedly found of giants are like remnants that are like super, super old, right?
Right.
And so that there's some talk that the pyramids are actually older than ancient Egypt. So maybe they were built from an era way, 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 way before of when the hominids that were like giants were around then. So, I mean, you get like 5 of those guys, right? Maybe they have the equivalent strength of like 20 dudes. It wouldn't take that many to move one of those stones.
Right, because if you go with that theory, like humans usually modern humans build efficiently. So like, cinder blocks are relatively easy to move with like 1 or 2 guys. Bricks, you don't like in modern times you don't see anyone moving 20-ton cinder blocks to build a house. So I hear what you're saying there. Like maybe maybe they did it because it was easier for them.
And if we Hugh Newman talks about all sorts of giant skulls and skeletons being found all over the world. So at some of these sites where we're saying like around the world, maybe they had giants helping too.
Yeah, and well, if you go with the Egypt theory of was it they think I don't have it on top of my head, but the Sphinx and the Great Pyramids were built relatively close by the same dynasty, right? That's like the main theory. But then like Robert Schoch and those guys go and like examine the Sphinx enclosure and like, no man, this is from a time when there was heavy rainfall here, and that was at least like they say like 12,000 years ago, where the Great Pyramids they think are what 4,500, going by the classical Egyptology. So it's kind of hard to argue the weathering. So either like the weather models are completely wrong and maybe it was much wetter then, but you don't really see the same weathering on the pyramids. So that kind of goes with that theory.
Can we just add to this theory that I imagine us humans riding Triceratops, whipping these sword-pored giants?
That's exactly what I'm
Can we all agree on that?
There's other giant beasts roaming the earth at this point too.
That I'm on board with that theory.
Well, we got what's that great ape? That giant chimpanzee? What was that called?
Oh, the fuck, what was that thing called? I can't remember
the skeleton they found.
King Kong?
Basically,
Australopithecus.
Yeah, Australopithecus.
I think that's close enough.
There's some giant creatures back in the day.
Yeah. It's a fun theory, if nothing else, for sure.
I like the giant theory, man.
Yeah, they built the.
Yeah, that's what makes no sense to me.
Wait, yeah, why'd they build those giant stones? Because it was easy for them.
Right?
It must have been easy.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun.
Well, that's all.
It's a fun theory. I definitely heard it before, and it's definitely, it's a fun theory. You got those guys, they talk about those like red hair giants that they find in the Middle East. They said they found in some caves. There's the stories of like the Marines. They fought one time. Obviously not substantiated, but there's stories are there, so.
Stories are there, so it's probably true.
Yeah, hey.
Makes sense.
Anyways, but hey, Alex, we'll talk to you again soon, man. Thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks, Alex.
Yeah, you will take it easy.
Bye.
I mean, we definitely have descendants of giants still roaming the earth. Like you got Thor, deadlifting 500,000 pounds. You got the NBA. Like those aren't normal people. Those guys have giants' blood.
Giant genes in them.
They must.
How? A couple of Thor Bjorgensons.
Well, exactly. Like that guy. There's no way that guy's all human. He's got some giant in him.
Was there enough food back in the day to feed an army that big of what he needs?
They grinded their bones for bread. We know that.
Well, I mean,
they eat a lot of beans.
I will tell you that there is evidence of up to something like 1,000 bakeries that surrounded the pyramids at the time of the building.
People love bread.
That's what they found evidence of.
1,000.
You got to carb up, man.
Wow.
Dude, you got to carb up.
I guess so.
You get that strength from. You got to carb up.
Hey, on the thing of giants though, haven't they found now they found like a finger bone and like a molar of what they call like the Denisovans or Denisophins, and they seemed, if judging by their finger and their tooth, seemed to be like maybe between 7 and 9 feet tall.
Where did they find these?
In Russia, Western Russia somewhere. The Denisovans, they found them in a couple caves.
If you're talking about the tooth that they found, that was in Siberia. Yeah,
buddy, that's because these guys have been on some fucking anabolic Russian steroids.
I'm just saying we don't know
soldier serum.
We don't know the full history of our like hominid species. We keep finding new ones. Like we have for sure. Well, we know like what Neanderthals. We know what's that? Eludes me. Similar to Neanderthals. lost it. They found those like hobbit type creatures and
Homo florensis.
the Florensis, so like small, but they're all
Mhm.
hominid
Hobbits,
style
yeah.
creatures. So maybe we just haven't found them all yet.
I mean, if we have proof of there being really, really tiny people like me and Dan, so obviously I wouldn't be surprised that there's huge people. Wouldn't be alarming. I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. But like, is there any other creatures? Like I know with dogs and cats, you can have your tabbies and you have your like that have the share similar DNA to like jungle cats and shit like that. And you have Chihuahuas and Great Danes. But like, are there any other animals that have that big of like size disparity that humans have?
You could say horses to some extent.
I don't know. Like,
We
you know
have
what I
like
mean?
a draft horse versus like a race horse versus a pygmy horse.
Yeah, I think dogs are the greatest variety. Have to
Right.
be.
Yeah, like you can go from a Chihuahua to a Great Dane. That's fucking bananas.
Well, I guess cats too. Like you go from a house cat to a fucking tiger.
And then people though, like, you know what I mean? Like I stand next to somebody who's fucking 7 feet tall and I'm like, Jesus,
Yeah, but
how are you? How are we the same thing?
Yeah, but think of the weight though. Like, it's like a cat goes from like what? What's a small cat? 7 pounds, 6 pounds. And what's a tiger? 500 pounds.
My tabbies are fucking like 20 pounds, man. They're fat boys.
So yeah, imagine that. Imagine humans had the same type of variation back in the day. You had little hobbit people weighed 50 pounds. Then you had giants that were 9 foot tall, 500 pound, like Bigfoot type creatures.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But still, like if you're only 900 pounds, I think it's pretty unrealistic to say you could pick up a 2-ton boulder. But I guess if you had 3 or 4 guys, it'd be pretty easy. 3 or 4 9-foot monsters.
Man, and like we don't even really know the full potential of the human body. You know what I mean? Especially now, like we are
What are you
years
talking
away
about?
from.
Yes, we do.
Buddy,
Right
we're
here.
We're here, dude.
You're looking at
we're
it.
years away from being fucking Wall-E people in those little fucking remote control chairs zipping around because we're too fat and useless. And Braden's the perfect example of that. We're getting close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're one generation away, really.
Yeah.
I could do it this generation. I could do it in a month.
I know. Well, no, I don't think anybody's surprised by that.
Yeah. The other thing is, the other one that I liked is that that they're used as because they were they used to be capped in gold and covered in limestone. So I'm getting really bad echo for some reason.
I can't hear it.
Anomaly of
Just
the internet.
Braden's having a tough day today.
Rough day. Just got home from holidays.
He's got to knock off that vacation rust.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
and he's back.
I don't know why twice now it just gets this really bad delay, and then the last time was a really bad echo. But the pyramids used to be covered in like limestone and like capped in gold.
Yep.
Right. White limestone on the outside.
White limestone? That's a
Yeah.
bold look.
They were like pure white. I mean, if you pulled up to this thing and I mean, you could just imagine seeing this like when it was being built or when it was finished or when they were in their prime, because these were, you know, up until the like close to the first part of the 20th century, that was the tallest man-made building in the world
For thousands of years.
Yeah. So it's like you come up on that, it must have looked just nuts. Like just once it was finished, like just pristine white. You know, they had cut these slabs of limestone on the outside and fitted them so perfectly to be just completely, you know, just white. Like it would have looked nuts. Like it just would have looked cool. Well, it looked like a spaceship, I suppose. Like
Ooh.
capped with gold.
Ooh. Aren't they? If you
No,
go,
they were made of rocks. They're not spaceships. They're made of
no,
rocks.
if you go, what's the one meme where they're all taking off? Got big jet engines on the bottom, flying away.
But who's to say that they weren't modeled after spaceships? You know, as you could say that, I guess, because there's no proof that they weren't not modeled after spaceships, because, you know, we got Stargate, and there's that kind of theory that maybe spaceships landed on Earth and they look like pyramids and they took off into space. So that's where, you know, space or where the gods are. So we need to send our pharaoh into space. So why not put him in one of these things?
Well, I've always wondered that, because they say like it's a tomb, right? They're all tombs, but then aren't most tombs in Egypt below ground?
Well, no, that was the tombs they started putting below ground because they realized that they had a trouble with grave robbers. Like they figured that out after a while. These pyramids were built based on the majority of the religion back then believed that the the whole thing was kind of dictated by the birth and rebirth of the sun. So like every night, when the sun goes down, technically the sun dies. That's how they interpret it. The sun dies, night comes. During the night, there's this huge, with the stars and everything and all that, it's like there's a huge battle going on during the nighttime, and the gods fight and sacrifice themselves so that the sun can be reborn every night, every day. And so it was the pharaoh's responsibility, who is their emissary or their representation of their gods on earth. He is a god on earth. And so when he dies, he returns to the battle with the gods. So he helps them, aids them in their eternal battle across the night sky in order to bring back the sun, to bring back prosperity, to bring good luck to the people of Egypt.
Now, I get that, but now we say, so they figured out that they're bad targets to have tombs on the surface. Don't they think these pyramids are some of the oldest in Egypt, right? Great Pyramids.
Some of the old, not the oldest, but some of the oldest.
But
yes.
they're at these are at the pinnacle of Egyptian pyramid building technology because there was never anything built better, but they're not the oldest. So if you go with a linear progression of technology, 100 years ago, we struggled to build something more than 4 stories or 8 stories, right, out of wood. And then we figured out, tensile steel and steel and concrete buildings. And all of a sudden by 1930, we're building 100-story things, and we continue to progress. So a lot of the theories go with something happened from the start of ancient Egypt to the closer to when Egypt kind of fell out of being revered as the pyramid builders. Something happened where they lost the technology to build like that.
Okay. You make a really good point. And it's like you said, 100 years ago, we definitely weren't building the same kind of buildings that we are today due to new technologies being discovered, new methods, things like that. The Egyptians are very similar in that way in the historical record. Like you have Sneferu's pyramids, which was Khufu's father, I believe. His pyramid is built on the outskirts of Giza. The ones it's the ones that you see, the little ones that don't look like good pyramids, the ones that look all funky,
like quarter size kind of.
Yeah, those ones that look more like step pyramids. You can see the progression of pyramid technology from these previously built, from pyramids that predate the Great Pyramids of Giza, the ones that are Khafre,
Khufu,
and Khufu.
Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure.
Menkaure, yeah.
But then after that, though, it goes down. There's no other greater building in Egypt.
Right. And there's a lot of history that's lost there. Of course, these pyramids were built, 2000, before. I think the first time that pyramids are actually even mentioned is in, Herodotus's history, the very first
Greek
historian.
Greek history, yeah.
Yeah, a Greek historian. And he's the first one to ever really mention them, where we have a written record of the pyramids being described in literature. But his account is still those pyramids were built 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years before his account or his observations or whatever of him seeing these pyramids. So they've kind of always been there. So there's a lot of history that's lost. The only thing that they have of Khufu, to actually know what he looks like, is a small little ivory figurine that they found within the ruins. It's really tiny.
But isn't that weird though, that the greatest structure in the ancient world, you cannot really find anything about the guy who built it? Connecting the two.
It's 2,000 years. It's a lot of time.
Well, it's 4,000 years, right? I know it's a lot of time.
Yeah, but what if somebody decided that they wanted to snuff out his fucking history?
Legacy,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It wouldn't have been that hard. It's happened.
So Egypt back then was, but does someone conquer Egypt? Who would have knocked it out? Because besides the burning of Alexandria and all the records by the Romans, who else conquered Egypt?
You had the Hittites. I think the Hittites. Egypt hasn't been a single thing, a single empire.
I know that, but
that whole time.
But aren't there no hieroglyphs in the Great Pyramid?
They do have writings and stuff, but they're, I don't know.
Because most other Egyptian like Tutankhamun and all the other big name Egypt stuff are just full. Their shit is full of hieroglyphs.
But Tutankhamun's was hidden. His was very well hidden, and that's why it's so well preserved. That's that nobody could find it. They didn't know where it was. They didn't bury him like all the other kings. They didn't bury him in the, all the big, he didn't have a very, ostentatious tomb, or when they build a big temple for him, all that stuff. And he was relatively like an unknown king. He wasn't a super popular king, and they didn't take the effort that they did with all their other pharaohs and stuff like that. So, but we definitely, if you can take what was inside his tomb, which was all this amazing stuff. They had tons of really cool, neat things that were in there. If you take that and then you multiply that times like 1 billion, for example, like Ramesses II, who was like the greatest pharaoh, perhaps, of the entire Egyptian civilization.
Conquered the most.
Yeah.
He was a badass.
And his tomb's ripped apart. We don't even know where his body is. Lost his body, I think. they found it at some point, and then they found it in some weird antique shop.
Guys selling $5 tickets.
Well,
you want to see Ramses' body? Come with me, buddy. Come with me. I will show you right now. You want to see it? Number one thing
back
price.
in the day was like you would buy. I think it was either during the Victorian era or whatever. That was the big thing, was like buying mummies. Like they would find these mummies, they'd buy them in Egypt, have them shipped over, and they would mummy viewing parties. You just post up a mummy in the middle of your parlor and have everybody come over and get drunk and look at your dead, preserved raisin man sitting in your house.
I'm pretty sure my great uncle has one as a coffee table. It's pretty common. It's pretty normal down there.
All right, if you're watching the live stream, we got time for a few more calls, so don't be shy. Pick up the line.
Let us know. Is it aliens? What's their fascination with Orion's belt? Were they ancient power plants?
What about their obsession with elongating their occipital lobe?
The cranial.
Do you know what I mean? Like you look at Akhenaten, right? Like he's got that fucking elongated occipital lobe.
The cranial deformation, totally, they pop their, like they bind their skull and then like pop it backwards. Where'd they get that idea from?
Bizarre, man.
I mean, it could be. I would say it could possibly, one explanation, or my plausible explanation, it was a deformity. Like a king had it, and it was like it became in vogue.
Well, Akhenaten was pretty famous for being like just tons of comorbidities. You know what I mean? Like you look at all his statues, like he had gyno, I always butcher the word, but like when you have the really puffy nipples and stuff like that, like he was he had a aromatase issue,
really
puffy
high
estrogen
nipples?
problems. Like, yeah, like, like guys who use steroids, when their testosterone goes up, your estrogen goes up at the same time, right? And that can cause your nipples to grow.
Okay.
And that's obviously, I don't think Akhenaten was fucking juicing back in the day. You never know.
That's what I think.
You don't know that.
You don't
We don't
know.
have his piss test.
Yeah.
But he didn't look like it. Whatever he was taking wasn't working other than growing his nips. Because he was a skinny
The people of
weirdo.
Egypt didn't really like him anyway, so maybe they made the statues to make fun of him. Maybe he was extremely jacked.
It could be too. Yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? But also there was a lot of inbreeding as well, right? It was quite the
They
pod
seen
brother
an
thing.
alien who showed them how to build the pyramids, had a long head. They started binding their skulls.
Yeah, but Akhenaten was way after that. Way after that.
Well, and a lot of those paintings too, you do see there's always like someone that looks like a giant, and and there's like small people around them. Maybe there's more truth to that.
Maybe.
I like the one where it's aliens coming down that are doing like interspecies splicing, and that's why you have the gods with the various animal heads.
What do you mean interspecies splicing? You mean interspecies erotica?
Erotic.
Is
Yeah,
that
that's what I
you're
meant.
trying to say?
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
meant.
yeah, that's better. Okay. All right. Splicing. Got to make it fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they depict people with like fish heads and snake heads.
Well, it's all the gods.
Yep.
Like Sobek with the head of the fucking crocodile. Like that's
Pretty rad.
so rad. He's my favorite. The badass.
I just find it interesting that all their gods are depicted with. It makes me think that they've seen something out of this world to like come up with those stories.
But same with like with the indigenous cultures in North America. All their gods are animals as well.
Yeah, but they're legit animals.
Maybe it was easier. Yeah, but maybe it was easier to draw a human body with a hawk head. And they're like, I don't want to draw a whole falcon So I'll just draw with the head and then like stick figure.
You're telling me
told
that
him
their
lazy artists.
art depictions are based on lazy artists who are just like, I don't know.
I don't want to
know how
draw
do
all
the
those
rest."
feathers. I could just draw them as a human body and then we'll just put the head on there.
Listen,
like,
I'm really
be
good at
way
the
easier.
bodies. You get the gist. I'm good at head and human bodies. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. I used to draw all the time when I was a kid. Not one set of hands. Not once in my entire life. You ever try and draw a hand? Fuck that. Way too hard.
All right, lazy artist, you heard it here. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why you got.
Makes
we got-
sense. I've never drawn a hand in my
So we got
life. I have some
animal-headed
Egyptian in
people
me.
gods.
It's part of it. We're lazy. I can't help it.
Yeah. I like that. I like that theory.
Yeah, makes sense.
We still got time for callers if you want to call in the show. 1-833-703-0424. We've got a little bit of time left before we wrap this episode up.
Don't be a pine cone. Give us a call.
Yeah, don't be pine cone. Call us.
That's not going anywhere.
Nope.
Now, I would love, and I know there's probably an audience that would disapprove of this, but I'd love if they redid one of the sides of the pyramid like they had done in Chichen Itza to bring it back to what it's like written about looking like, so you could see. You know what I mean? So when you go visit, you'd much like Chichen Itza. So if one of the four sides is completely redone.
Yeah, I mean, like when we went and looked at it, everybody's staring at the side that was all redone, and then you'd like just kind of like, fast walk past the fucking old shitty part because you're like, yeah, it's fucked.
Well, it was old and
That
shitty,
sucks.
but
I don't want anything to
you could still see. You could. It was like obviously that thing was overgrown with the jungle. I think the roots and shit are powerful forces to destroy rock.
Yeah,
like you get some plants and like inside a crack in a rock, and then like in a human lifetime, it will crack that rock and a piece will fall off. So I can only imagine over hundreds of years.
I was fast walking because I thought some shit was going to fall down and run, just fucking tumble down that thing. It did not look safe.
Maybe that's why they stopped letting you climb up to the top.
Which is bananas to me. I can't believe they ever let people do that.
Made a solid rock. It'd be fine. Let us up there.
Some of the
but you see,
he's
Been there for 1,000 years. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. You have some fucking guys coming from, I'm not going to name a country that, love hot dogs and, processed foods. And he gets halfway up that fucking thing and has a jammer. And you're going to have to fucking just roll him down. You're going to have to slinky him down that fucking thing.
Are you talking about Germany?
Oh, they're going to be pissed.
Oh, so it's Germans.
Or Austrians?
Austrians.
I know they love. I don't know.
Schnitzel
I don't know who you're talking
and-
about. Yeah. Tons of fried foods.
Sauerkraut.
Unbelievable.
All right.
I agree. It's dangerous. Those steps are so tiny.
Fuck that.
Tiny steps. Let's bring in another caller here. We got someone coming in. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
Hey guys, how's it going tonight?
Hey, good. What's your name?
man.
Where are you calling from?
Cody from Manitoba again.
Oh yeah, repeat caller, man. Bring it on. What you know about the pyramids?
Honestly, I've never really followed them too much as a self-proclaimed conspiracy theorist as I am. But one thought I have had is that maybe there's some kind of communication tower or something, just because like where they're placed, they're in specific locations and stuff like that. Like their locations match up with like star alignment and stuff like that. There might be some kind of communication system that they left behind.
Oh, so you're going with like an ancient alien theory that they were built
Or
here
like the ley lines and stuff. Yeah.
on the ley lines on the power grid of the Earth in order to transmit signals like through space or to other places on Earth.
Maybe to space. I would think maybe to on things. Have you guys ever heard of the? I think it's a group called Galactic. No, there's some kind of group anyway. It's like the Galactic 5 or something like that, and it's supposedly this kind of like a policing force, if you will, of 5 of the major alien races, supposedly, and they kind of govern like Earth and other planets to make sure no major wars happen and stuff like that. Maybe that's part
Do
of
they
it.
have green rings?
I was about to say that.
They
It's
recharge them
actually
with a
7
lantern.
of them.
Oh yeah.
It's not a lantern, no, it's a jack-o'-lantern instead.
I'm pretty sure I've seen some lanterns carved in some hieroglyphics. I'm pretty sure if you look in there, you'll find some.
Hell yeah.
Search hard
I
enough.
think I thought I was lucky enough to find a ring one time, but then it just turned out to be like a sucker ring, you know, like sucker pops.
Diamond pops or whatever. Ring
pops, yeah.
Yeah, ring pops. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So this one
Just start giving the oath every time you get one.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, what's that?
Oh, I said you start reading the oath every time you get the every time you find one of those ring pops.
Yeah, mine with the teddy bear didn't really work out very well.
I would get on board with that, with them sending messages into space. You know, I've heard of them being some sort of like meditation chamber too, where people would like send their consciousness other places. They use the power in the pyramid and
like astral projection type
yeah,
thing? Like,
right, to travel the cosmos. I've heard that theory before too. So I've never been in it. So I'd love to tour the inside. I've only seen maps and stuff and you know, read what other people think. I'd love to go experience it myself to kind of make a decision one way or another. How I feel.
I think Art Bell, if you've heard of Art Bell before, I'm pretty sure he explored one like years ago when he was still alive, of course. I'm pretty sure he went to, I think it was Egypt, and was able to actually take a tour or like explore one of the pyramids or something like that.
Yeah, I would like to get his. I wonder what his thoughts were on that. I'd like to listen to that. There's somewhere.
Yeah, there's actually a podcast that has all the episodes of Art Bell, like Coast to Coast AM, and there's one where he tells of like how, like what he did, and he told his experience in the pyramids and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see them being like that. It always fascinates me, even with like Chichen Itza and stuff. Their fascination with the stars and like the precision that it would take. And I'm just thinking, especially with the Great Pyramids, like, you know, even if we can build those stones and we can do that, the precision that like in the planning, I'm like, it still blows me away because I've never seen anything planned that well.
It's still precision engineering. It's precision engineering 4,500 years ago, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. Hey, man. Hey, we appreciate the call. We're going to take one more call tonight and probably going to wrap this one up.
Thanks, Cody.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cody. Talk to you again. Bye.
I'd be more inclined to believe that one if we had like, you know, evidence of tin cans with long strings connected to them from fucking pyramid to pyramid.
The strings degrade over time, Andrew.
That's fair. True.
It's
the giant string that goes, wait, you know what? Has anybody checked if the pyramid is unplugged? You need to plug it in.
You know what?
I wouldn't have checked.
We've talked about that before. Zell and I have like, because there's no water running, maybe that has something to do with how they work. It needs water running through it. So maybe it's not plugged in, Dan.
Maybe we got to divert the underground river underneath the Great Pyramid again, get it working again. All right, let's bring in our last caller of tonight. Hello, Cosmic Channels.
Hey, this is Chris from Denver.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing?
Good, man. Just
good, man.
Shooting the shit about some pyramids. You got a theory for us?
Yeah, I'm watching y'all's live stream. So when it comes to the pyramids, what I think's going on is that they were using the God, what was it? Fuck, man. I completely forgot where I was going with that.
They're using the energy, the location, the rocks. What do you got?
Oh, man. You know, I completely forgot because I was thinking about DIA.
BIA, Brothers in Arms? What do we got going on here? What's BIA?
No, Denver International, because I watched y'all's episode on DIA today.
Oh, you're
because when I was driving home from work, and I actually, what's that?
So you're talking about Denver Airport, like the underground of Denver Airport, that conspiracy?
Yeah, I was watching that one, and I listened to y'all talk about how you wanted to know if anybody was working there that listened to you guys.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been there?
I'm sorry this is all off topic, but yeah, no, I actually work there. So.
Oh, shit.
How many underground bases are there?
I don't want to derail y'all's show, but.
No, it's all good, man. Let us know how many underground bases are there.
Yeah, we want to know.
Well, I don't know about the bases, but I can tell you that the tunnels are real.
Okay.
And as for the whole over budget thing, what originally happened was there was an underground baggage system that they were going to use. And And that's what drew them over budget, because the technology was there, but the materials and stuff weren't. So they turned them into some tunnels, but it's like there's different buildings and offices that are down there.
Hey, listen, I've read enough about CIA cover-ups to know a good cover-up when I hear one. We were going to have some baggage system, and now it doesn't work. We can't use it. That's why we're over budget.
No. No, that's what I'm getting at. But if you go down in the tunnels, there's different areas that are closed off. But the areas that are closed off, it's all closed off by Department of Homeland Security.
Oh, interesting.
There's people. Yeah, and there's people that I know that have gone down there, and it's like you have to go down there to run bags from one flight to another. But if there's areas that you go that you're not supposed to, then you'll have the DHS people come out and ask you what you're doing. They'll come with TSA, and they'll harass you until you leave, and they could pull your badge from you, and you'll lose your job.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
crazy.
serious shit going on down there.
Dude, there's
No, yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sure we're going to find out some crazy operation 20 years from now that was going on there.
They took down the murals?
Well, all those murals that y'all were talking about, they took them all down. And I don't know if you've ever flown in or out of DIA, but there's a train system that takes you to the different concourses. And it talks, right now they're doing a bunch of construction, and it talks about how it's like, oh, this is 2020 and this is the year we all need to believe. And on the train, it talks about all the different conspiracies. So it's trying to do that thing to make it seem like, oh, this is just a huge joke. Like they're trying to hide it in plain sight, essentially.
Oh, okay. Because didn't they put up?
Is that giant blue horse as terrifying in real life as it is in pictures?
Oh yeah, dude, that thing's penis is enormous. Veiny, throbbly. Like there's
that
a
dick
real
is
horse. That thing
bigger than Mr. Manhattan's.
Yeah,
it's gigantic. It's terrifying.
Lucifer.
Yeah, Lucifer. They're doing maintenance on it right now. They got people working on it. And
Lucifer.
Boom lifts and everything.
Adding a couple inches just to make it more scary.
Something like that. But if you guys want pictures of some of the stuff that goes on underground, I can email them to you guys.
Listen, don't die though.
Hey, yeah.
We don't want you to get murdered.
We want the pictures, but be careful.
Yeah, we don't want you to get suicided.
No, yeah, it's easy to get down there because they have there's locker rooms that are down there. And then it's kind of one of those areas that's easy to get lost. And if you get lost, it's just like, oh, my bad. I don't work down here. I'm just trying to find the vending machines.
Right.
Don't
And they're just like,
Yeah, man.
All right.
Send us some pictures.
Yeah, we're down to get pictures, but don't risk losing your job to send us some pictures.
I mean, you will get theorite of the
there's
week.
a lot
though.
more at stake than my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we appreciate it.
I'll
'cause
get Epstein.
one day we're going to fly in there and have a look for ourselves. But until then, we'll appreciate the pictures.
Oh, yeah. And if you do, just keep an eye out. There's a lot of weird, like a lot more weird shit than is shown.
Right.
Like than all the stuff they talk about, you just got to keep an eye out. And it's a lot of stuff that's like, that doesn't sit right.
Cool, man. Hey, we appreciate the inside scoop. Send us those pictures.
Yeah.
Send them to alientheorist@gmail.com. And but stay safe.
Sounds good. Yeah, I didn't mean to derail y'all's show from off.
No, this
take
is
it
cool.
off topic or anything, but
No, man,
I
that's
figured
cool.
this was
That's
a
all
chance
good.
to tell y'all to reach out about that.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too, man.
Peace, buddy.
Take care.
A little slightly off topic, but still cool. Always hear.
No, that was
always cool to hear
badass.
from people on boots on the ground.
That's 100% CIA cover up. I'm reading a book about CIA cover ups right now, and I'm like,
That's
dude,
it.
they did that kind of. This kind of sounds like the shit they did.
For what though? Like, what the fuck is going on down there? It's terrifying.
That's for another show, Andrew. Another show right there.
Touche.
Yeah. Try what's going on in Denver Airport.
Yeah. All right. Let's. That's been
Big babies, Joe.
Big babies. They're getting them.
Choke me, Eddie. Choke me.
That's
All
been
right.
an hour. So let's wrap
That's Cosmic
this
Channels.
episode of Cosmic Channels up. Good to go.
Bye.
Cosmic Channels is brought to you by Big Theory Productions. The Cosmic Channels are now closed.